Fantasy Football Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on into the O'Reilly Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Tim Sestito. Alongside me, my co-host always as Kevin King. And we have our first return guest of the podcast. We wanted more of those deep insights and analysis he had pulled up there. We're ready for him again. Billy Wallace, welcome back to the podcast.
Oh yeah, glad to be here.
Glad to have
Just
you.
happy we're not taking 2 bye weeks.
No, not 2 bye weeks. We just need a quick little bye week. I know there was a trip to Buffalo, a trip to Las Vegas involved by the two hosts. So it was a lot going on. Coming back that week, needing to settle back in. But you were both in Buffalo. I think we would love a little recap of the trip, how it went. Kev's got some sunglasses on. I like the little effect there.
Yes. Bill, how did it go?
It went well. I think it was a very successful jaunt to Buffalo. It was a far drive, but not too far. And I
I
think
think the person who loved Buffalo the most was Ryan. He said he might move there.
He might move to Buffalo. Was there a lot of pinball machines?
I like
There
I
was
like
a lot
Ryan.
of pinball machines.
Ryan came in hot and joined us at the sports bar for the Saturday games, and immediately got up and left and went and had dinner by himself. Found a different establishment to eat dinner.
He just couldn't handle a bunch of overweight
he
Buffalo college football fans.
That just wasn't for him. That
Not
wasn't
his
a
vibe.
eat dinner for him that night.
It's definitely not his vibe.
He came back, but it was after he had a steak from
A nice place.
Yeah.
Well, when we saw Ryan in Brooklyn, he was complaining about the food selection and how far he had to walk to go find it. But the blocks were too big to move to the Upper East Side for the grocery stores. But yeah, so I guess we can do a brief touch up of week 6 since we did miss it here. I suffered a heartbreak to Joe there. I mean, that's marginal point difference there. That's always a tough way to lose. Billy with a nice blowout win. Kevin, he's just continuing this luck 2 weeks in a row, man. I mean, this guy is just, 3 weeks.
Oh wait,
in a
we're
row.
doing a week 6 recap.
Just quick. We're not going to dive deeper into this one like we will week 7. 93 points. Uncle Chris, City Dogs, Narco continued his win streak, and then James got his second win of the season there as well.
Important to note, after week 6, there was a 6 or 7-way tie for last place at 2 and 4. There was a lot of 2 and 4 teams coming into the break.
Yeah, there was a lot of 2 and 4 teams, and now we're kind of, the league is starting to take its picture a little bit more here with the 2 bottom teams and the Buzzsaw and Sean's Inheritance.
But if you look at it, 3 to 12 is only separated by 2 wins.
Oh yeah, no, it's very close. Any team can make a run here. We're just kind of talking about how the season is shaken up and just in terms of points scored here. Most of the teams have a high amount of points scored. Only one team is, below that margin here. But Bill,
Which team is that?
Your team. But hey, listen, a W is a W, and your team's only going to get healthy before the playoffs. For the Bolshevik Bills. Billy here just with over 1,000. I got hit with the highest point total in the league, and you still have more points against than I do. Week 1, I got a 200 burger put on me, and
you have to really wonder if the Buzzsaw's heart is in it. If you take a look at his moves on the waiver, 3 moves. I mean, that just doesn't seem characteristic for him. I don't know if his heart's in it. He told me he's in 7 leagues, and I just don't think he's in this one this year.
7 leagues. That's a lot. Yeah, it's almost like his team has had, he kind of went all in on that Jacksonville stack, and it really hasn't paid off for him. Even though the Jacksonville Jaguars keep on winning. Let's jump ahead here to week 7. I guess the highlight is the king is dead. Narco suffered his first loss of the season to me, the hands of me. Feeling good here. It felt great having Alvin Kamara on Thursday night put up almost a 30 burger. That always feels very good.
Yeah, I was watching the Monday night game and I really thought that there was a good chance that a 40-yard play could have broken open for him because he had Cousins who was dealing it and
Oh
McCaffrey's
yeah,
or always the threat and had a 35-yard reception touchdown. So that game came down to the wire. You were projected to win early, but it kept it entertaining into Monday night.
oh definitely. I mean, the difference ended up being here. Dustin Hopkins putting up a 19 burger for me. I'm not the biggest fan of kickers, but I got to tip my cap to Hopkins. Helping me get this W here. Jacobs did not perform as I would have liked to. Pacheco on the bench, and Jacoby Myers been a nice little waiver guy for me. He's continually like one of those guys that on a bye week you can plug in here. He's only had one not great game. Everything else 15, 20, 17, 18, right? He's been a pretty good
More consistent than Devontae Adams.
more consistent than Devontae Adams. Here, and we'll dive into our guests here because this was the other close game here, the high scoring matchup between Jimbo, whose team is found a rhythm. They're coming alive a little bit here.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Had a 33-point lead going into Monday night against Addison. And I think he had two 40-yard touchdowns.
Yeah,
That really stacked him to the winning. I mean, I think I jinxed it a little bit. I told my friends in one of my group chats, I think I'm going to go 3-0 this week in my 3 leagues. I just need Addison to get held to under 35. And when he scored that second touchdown, my friends were like, "Oh man, you really jinxed yourself. I think he's at like 28." And then I let them know that it was a double point touchdown league, and they were like,
for long touchdowns. Yeah, that's
"We are screwed."
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
Kelsey had a 55-yard reception and was tackled on the 3-yard line.
oh,
So Kelsey was definitely the backbone of my group this week, and he left points on the table. Hate to see
yeah.
that.
I mean,
And
kicker killed you here a little bit with only a three burger missed, point after attempt miss, taking away some points from you there.
He was cut. He was cut by the Rams.
Yeah, I see that. You got an NA. This guy's not even on the Rams anymore.
But if you think about it, I mean, this was what James was hoping all season. And what he needed was Justin Jefferson to be out, to have Jordan Addison get all the attention. He needed Daniel Jones to be out for Darren
David
Wallace
Montgomery to be out.
some receptions.
For
David Montgomery to be out for Gibbs. He needed Nick Chubb to be out for Ford to start.
He had Nick Chubb, so I think that.
Right. Well, you're right. But this is what he was looking for in his team, and he's going to need all those guys to continue to be out for him to be productive, I think.
Yeah, he might be, but I mean, also Gibbs finally having himself a day here might make the Lions go. This is a guy, we gotta, even if he's getting more limited touches, we got to start dealing the ball to him.
Yep.
We can't.
So you think David Montgomery coming back from the injured list isn't going to bring Craig to the championship?
Montgomery's been a monster, and I mean Thielen's been a monster for James teams too, and he had him on a bye. James is a couple of weeks ago we were fine. It's okay, DJ, but he's pulled himself out of the gutter here and has really made himself, as a threat there. Maybe a team you don't want to see when you're seeing that he can put up 163 points, in a season here. Kev taking down the buzzsaw, nice 103 points there. I know you're dealing with, you had Burrow on a bye, Lamb on a bye. Josh Kelly finally put up points, and you had him on the bench. That's tough. And with the Jefferson injury, that always hurts. Well,
yeah. I'll keep it short and sweet. I don't think my team has found its rhythm at all. I think I've been putting up about 100 points a week. But I think I bring other teams down to my level and I just drown them. They're a lifeguard. They come out to try and save me. I'm a drowning victim and I end up drowning them. And, whoever I'm going up against this week, I think it is Billy, I'm going to drown you. And you're going to score 45 points.
Oh,
and
man, I think
I'm going to score 50.
That is some analogy. I think it warrants a new team name.
The victims.
for the victims there.
The Dahmer drowners.
If you beat me, Billy, I'll change my name to whatever you want it to be.
Maybe Diaper Boy.
I'll change it. If you win, I'm changing my name to Diaper Boy.
Didn't say anything about the team picture though.
Did not say anything about the team picture.
Pat with the 0 from the kicker, and then the whole Bijan Robinson controversy here.
Oh
with
yeah,
the headaches.
kind of got screwed there.
He got
huh?
screwed there, and I mean, this is heartbreaking to see here, huh?
Ooh,
A 33 burger on your bench.
No
You
more
gotta-
burgers. No more
you got-
burgers. You've been saying burgers too much. No more.
33
I can
dog.
do what I want, Kev.
But yeah,
30
I think that is a shining waiver pickup. But you got to feel a little something leaving it on the bench.
that one hurts there, especially with Rob. He plays Jamal Williams, AJ Dillon, or Dante Foreman over his 2 running backs, and it's hard to bench a guy like Bijan. He's the centerpiece of your team. He's your first round pick. But 1 carry for 3 yards, claiming he had headaches. I also saw another thing that he was caught vaping in a team meeting, and Smith basically benched him. But who knows what actually happened there? I could imagine the frustration on the buzzsaw, kind of yelling in the locker room a little bit if he's still got his heart in it.
And just something to note, he is just a stubborn guy. And this is why I think his heart's not in it, because Kyle Pitts is just in there week after week. 7 is not the worst for a tight end, but my God, that guy.
Kyle Pitts is the 12th overall tight end.
Is he really? That's terrifying. And a little something to know between me and you, Bill. I got Cam Akers getting some more production than Madison this week, and this could be changing of the tides. So
I benched Madison this week.
Okay.
It's got Madison on the bench here.
Well, you're getting ahead to the future week matchup.
I was just making a transition, Bill. Let me be.
That's true.
We got Brooklyn. Craig's team's found a rhythm. He had a tough start to the season there, but his boys seem to be coming together a little bit there. Josh Downs, a nice waiver pickup there with 29 points.
Yeah, that's a guy you could build a team around.
That's the performance you could build a team around. Josh Allen with the surprising loss to New England, who have been just awful this season. 25 points from him. That's going to give you enough to build a solid core there. And Uncle Chris, the Daily News, I saw Hill got cut even before a waiver pick. He was done with this guy. He doesn't want to see his face again. And he had his heavy hitters. He had his heavy hitters on bye. Tony Pollard.
Yeah, this was
Breece
the
Hall.
first big bye week, I think.
Yeah, it was 6 teams I think were on bye. Pollard and Hall, kind of the stalwarts of his team, especially now that they, Hall's come back healthier and healthier. They keep using him more and more. His Dallas defense, it was been a monster, also on bye for him. So it's been tough. But I mean, Craig had the Ravens defense 24 points on the bench too. So he had alternates to ways to go.
Oh man, yeah, Craig definitely playing matchups there. Raiders against Chicago with a backup QB. Had to think that was a better matchup, better scenario than Baltimore against a Lions team that seems unstoppable. But that backfired.
That backfired big time. It seems like that David Montgomery ground and pound and that ball control really helps hide a Lions defense that maybe isn't great there. And then Ravagers picking up their 3rd win versus Night. I mean, tough to see. You've been waiting all season for Cooper Kupp. This is his 3rd game that he's played. 2 great weeks, and then a 6.9 is tough there. He had that 2-point conversion, but you're hoping for more than 6.9 from a guy like Cooper Kupp.
I don't think you get too worried about it with the 7 targets. I mean, he's if you're getting 7-8 targets, that's just an outlier of a week. He'll probably bounce back if it stays like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the worry's got to be a little bit surrounding Austin Eckler. Since he's been back, 10.2 and then 5.6, and just not enough targets, like 6 targets and 2 targets. And Eckler's always been a guy that you just pepper these balls to, and it just seems, to be not what the Chargers are looking to do with him right now.
Yep.
We're hoping he, can make a bounce back there. But Kittle, Walker, Mahomes with an all-time performance there, 38 points, and the Lions defense, playing against the Ravens, they've always feel like they're underperforming, but this week they got their
A negative
guard
6
together.
hard to do. It's hard to do. And you let up 500 yards of offense. Plus, they had a fumble recovery, which protects you.
Yeah, that could have been more negative points. That could have been like a
probably would have been
-8.
8. Yeah, -8. That's insane.
That's a tough way to live, and didn't have that much on the bench. Could have maybe thrown Tutu Atwell in there, but you were never starting him over Cooper Kupp. And Gus Edwards with a nice performance there against the Lions. You want to see if the Ravens can do it in consecutive weeks, because they're one of those inconsistent teams that they'll put up this great team. You're like, they're a Super Bowl team, and then they're not that kind of team. And then last but not least, we have my dad, front runner, with a nice 138-point performance against Sean's Inheritance. He's having a tough season.
Yeah, he is having a tough season. I think that he wrote in our group chat that he might be firing the head coach. I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out how it plays. He obviously had a couple of guys on bye, but hey, you got to make it work some way. Sloan has been, shopping around some trades over the last few weeks, and I don't think anybody bid on him. And you might have to take a long, hard look at his roster and maybe become a seller.
Yeah, maybe try to get some picks for next season, because we're seeing that his this is like I have Ramondre in my other league, and the guy's been brutal, and this is 14.5. It feels like the peak of what he can do here, because the Patriots just have not been good. But that's a really nice win against Buffalo, so it gives you hope that maybe they figure something out and turned it around a little bit and won't be just abysmal to watch there. That's the main thing. To go into waivers, I put in some bids there for some players I was hoping to get. There, if we look at some of the fab offers, I went in on Dalton Schultz there. Got some Cleveland defense, that was from last week. Only one fab offer. I guess it was not a big waiver week for people. Bill, did you guys make any moves?
No, I did not. Most moves I think were made just for kind of just process based. When I took a look, exchanging for kickers, just one flyer guy in for another flyer guy. James picked up Sam Darnold. I don't know if he's starting or something this week. I have no idea, but
yeah, this was more of an early morning active waiver than an overnight waiver.
Yeah. And I think that also raises questions about the league. Maybe we should move the waiver to later, because I think people with children under the age of 2 have an advantage of getting up a little earlier.
Hey, I used to set my alarm for 5 a.m. on waiver days prior to having a child that wakes us up at 5 a.m.
And anybody that's dropped, you can't just pick them up, they're going to be
very true.
You're not going to just be able to pick them up.
You got to think that Sean's Inheritance right there, picking up Tank Dell and dropping Ezekiel Elliott. Is that a move for the future there?
I think that's what that is. I really do.
Yeah, maybe potential keeper there, and Tank Dell, he's had two good weeks there. Houston's been a nice surprise in the league. But let's go ahead and look ahead to week 8 matchups here. Bill, as our first guest, blowout of the week predictions. What do you think?
Well, let's go through them before we get to the blowout of the week. Quickly, we could scan through. We got Excel Nazis matchup.
We got a Sestito matchup here.
All right, that means one of them's coming away with 4 wins total. Coming back to the pack. That could be a crucial week. Then we got Brooklyn versus Sean. So this used to be a Brooklyn matchup. It's no longer a Brooklyn matchup.
This is a rivalry week.
This is a rivalry week for sure.
Billy Kev.
Yeah, that one's going to be an interesting one. I mean,
Father son, math tutor versus former student. The games are all there, and then the
this is
newcomer versus the man who founded the league.
I like it. I like
that
it.
is good. That is
And me
good.
and Billy have the name. We're betting on the name change.
Yeah, this is a very big week for a lot of matchups. I think I might go with a little Daily News over the Buzzsaw for the blowout of the week. I think look at the projections coming out of Uncle Chris. Got 130. He's got a few options on the bench, it looks like, too. If he chooses to play them. KJ Osborne over Jared Goff.
He's
Or
a
sorry,
what?
TJ Stroud over Jared Goff.
Yeah, he's got options, although they are playing Vegas in a dome, so I feel like you might want to roll with Detroit there. Good pick there, Kev. Who do you got?
Yeah, I like that pick, Bill. I think Brees Hall could have a big game against the Giants. I'm hoping not, but I think he could. I think for my pick, I'm gonna have to roll with Night Night over DJ. If we click on their matchup and we just kind of take a look, James has Sam Darnold starting, and I can't imagine that Sam Darnold is going to be.
Is that the best option on the waivers right now?
I don't know. I guess he thinks it's better than Washington versus Philly. He has Howell, but I believe they already played Philly, and Howell put up 19 points. So I don't know. He's going with a quarterback who I don't think has played in a while. Actually, if you look at Darnold's per points, he's -5 on the year. He's put up negative points in 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
Well, I think he just comes in for the kneel downs,
Yeah,
So he
well,
loses
that's what I'm saying. He's not really playing, so I don't know. It's a crazy move, and I think James is a crazy guy. And hey, all the best to that guy, but I think Night Night's going to steamroll.
You know who is on the waiver wire right now?
Who do we got?
Dak Prescott.
I think James picked him up and dropped him.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he decided to go with he wanted a little JETS Jets. Yep, there it is.
Man, got to imagine maybe even Baker Mayfield is a better option.
Yeah, James is a crazy guy. I don't even think that Shanahan's offense in San Francisco is conducive for, heavy quarterback points. They have such a good run game, and I don't know. I just don't. I think he's going to get destroyed.
Yeah, there's better options out there. We got Derek Carr, Geno Smith.
They're just bigger names, but they haven't been great this season for fantasy.
Tyrod Taylor.
And I think if I'm gonna go, I think Kev, I think you're changing your name next week. I think we're gonna have a different name than the Bolshevik Billies. I think we're gonna have Diaper Boys. I'm going City Dogs. I think it's time for Billy's team to. You got to go in the locker room, Bill. You got to, rally the men because a lot's on the line. What, Kev? If you win, what does Billy have to change his name to?
Although this is a one-sided deal.
It was a one-sided deal. I kind of have the advantage in that my logo and name is making fun of him already. So, I'll just keep it one-sided. I have no problem changing the name, and I just crop Billy into a diaper and make it my new logo. So
You could ask Aunt Patty for a picture of him in diapers.
that might put me on a list.
That might put you on a list. And then finally, before we wrap up today's show, boys, who's the guy that's killing you? Who's been on your roster that's giving you a little agita?
Oh, I forgot about this new segment. Let me take a look at my team real quick. Yeah. Well, for me, it's my second running back. I mean, this goes to the whole position. I don't have a second running back all year. The best I've got was Najee Harris last week, but all year nobody has gotten me over like 8 or 9 points in the running back slot. So it's the second running back position. I think it's my weak spot. My team hasn't been good as of late, irrespective of the running back, but the second running back position is worse than my kicker. So it's bad.
Yeah, I would also have to say the second running back is kind of where I'm struggling as well. If we just look at my roster quick, there is Jalen Warren. I've got like a bunch of running backs that are second fiddle. We got Jalen Warren, Madison, Hubbard, Chuba Hubbard, McLaughlin. Like these guys are not starters, but they get some share, and it's just impossible to pick and choose, Like projected for 9 points. Three running backs projected for 9 points. How do I pick between those?
I'm in the same boat. Except for mine are all projected 6 or less, if you look.
It's definitely tough. Ooh, something popped up there. For me, it's Josh Jacobs. He's just been Mr. Inconsistent for me here. I haven't benched for Pacheco. Pacheco's just been more consistent here. He's logging 13, 15, 16 points a game here. While Mr. Jacobs, last week he put up a 5-burger, and if Garoppolo's out and they're just not moving the offense enough, he's had some nice games, 27, 19, but he's not been the guy that helped me last year.
Mm-hmm.
But, still happy I have him. And then T. Higgins still as well, because he's on bye, but he just hasn't done anything all season for me. But yeah, I think that will do it here. Any final thoughts from you, Kev, City Dogs?
Let's go Giants.
I'm ready for any trades anyone's willing to send me if they're looking for picks for next year. Let's bolster this roster into the playoffs.
All right. The beacons have been lit, and Billy's sending out the flag. He's ready to mortgage for this season.
Bill, I could put a nail on your coffin this week if I could squeak by you. This could be a pivotal week for you.
Yeah.
You got to reel off some wins in a row if you can't beat me. So I have some room to play with at the moment, but you really need this.
Yeah, looking ahead, I got you. Let's see. How many weeks left do we have?
Well, what? We have 6 weeks? There's 13 or 14 weeks?
14. It's 14 weeks now.
So we got 7 weeks left, including this week. We're right at the halfway point. So that's pretty key, right? I think I got you this week, then Uncle Chris, not a cakewalk, then Sean's Inheritance, then Brooklyn Boycotters, Buzzsaw, Front Runner, and Night to end it.
Night is a cakewalk.
We'll see. The soft schedule that I imagine sometimes isn't so soft against me.
NFL changes week to week. So does fantasy football. It'll be exciting to see, who's fighting for those final playoff spots. But thank you all so much for listening today. We'll see you next week.